Salvete omnes, and welcome to Caesar's Gallic Wars, Book 4, Section 34. When last we left Caesar, he was describing the chariot fighters and how they were fighting. And now in this section, Caesar is going to rescue the foragers, and we'll find out that some bad weather is going to prevent the fighting any further. So let us begin. Quibus rebus perturbatis nostris novitate pugnae tempora opportunissimo Caesar auxilium tulit. So the Caesar auxilium tulit here is going to be your main clause. Caesar brought help. Caesar tulit from ferro tuli latus, and then auxilium means help. So, and to our men, nostris, remember nostris means our men, having been disturbed by these things, quibus rebus, meaning by the novitate pugnae, by the novelty of fighting. At the most opportune time, of course, Caesar is going to be doing things at the most opportune time. He's writing this narrative, of course. At the opportunissimo tempora, at the most opportune time, Caesar brought help. Namque eas adventu hostes constiterunt, nostris se ex timora recaperunt. At his arrival, the enemy stopped. So he had such great power that at his arrival, the enemy stopped. And our men, recaperunt se, retreated themselves. Let me get my pen. Recaperunt is your main verb here. Remember, the main verbs there are in boxes. So our men being the subject, the reds are the subjects. So our men retreated from the fear. So our men recovered themselves, or we'll say recovered themselves here. Recovered themselves from the fear. Quo facto, ad lacescendum hostem et ad committendem proelium alienum esse tempus arbitratus. Suo se loco continuit, et brevi tempora intermisso in castra legiones reduxit. All right, so we have quo facto, with this thing having been done. Then you have to go down to arbitratus, which means to think. Having thought that the time was unfavorable, that the tempus was alienum. So here we have our indirect statement here. Having thought that the time was alien or not favorable for. So here we have two odd plus the accusative gerundives or gerundives here in order to express purpose. So having thought that the time was alien or not opportune for doing these two things, for lacescendum hostem, for provoking the enemy, and for committendum proelium, for engaging in battle. So having thought that this was the case, Caesar stayed in suo loco. So he kept himself in his own place. And with a short time having intervened, another ablative absolute here, at brevi tempora intermisso, he led the legions back into the camp. Okay, so dum haec geruntur, nostris omnibus occupatis, qui erant in agris reliqui discaserunt. So while these things were being done, remember our reds here, haec is going to be our subject. So while these things, this is from hic haec hoc, in the plural he hi haec. So this is the neuter plural of these. While these things were being done, here we have another ablative absolute. Remember, Caesar loves his ablative absolutes. With all of our men, remember nostris meaning our men, having been occupied, with all of our men having been occupied or engaged, those who were remaining in the fields, meaning the Britons, who were reliqui, who were remaining in agris in the fields, discaserunt, left. Secutae sunt continuos complores dies tempestates, quae et nostros in castris continerant et hostem appugna prohiberant. Okay. Storms is going to be our subject here. Tempestates should actually be read because it's the subject. Storms followed for several days, cum plures dies. That would be an accusative of duration of time. Storms then followed for several concessive days. So actually, continuous, complores, and DAs all agree, and tempestates would be the subject. So the coloring is a little off here. So the storms followed for several consecutive days. And these storms, which are feminine, by the way, which both, remember when you have and et, this is a correlative, which means both and. These storms, which both kept our men, remember there's our men again, just like we had up here, our men kept our men in the camps and prevented the enemy from battle or from the fight. So the storms followed, which kept our men in their camps and prevented the enemy from the battle. Interim barbari nuntios in omnes partes demiserunt, pacetatemque nostrum militum suis praedicaverunt, et quanta praeda facienda aquae in perpetuum sui liberande facultas daretur, si Romanos castris expulsant demonstraverunt. Okay, so meanwhile, the barbarians sent messengers into omnes partes, into all parts, and reported that. So when someone reports that something is happening, obviously you might be thinking we could be in an indirect statement, right? So he reported that. Not so good there with my writing. So he reported that to his own, he reported to his own men, they reported to their own people that the paucitatem, the paucity or the smallness of our soldiers, and they explained, I'm going to go down here, demonstraverunt, that there was a great opportunity, such a great opportunity was gathered, such a great opportunity was granted for, that's such a great, my coloring's off a little here, that there was such a great opportunity for gathering booty or for plundering, obtaining plunder, getting booty, and for freeing themselves, liberandi sui, into perpetuity forever, was given. Okay, so they announced that so great an opportunity for getting loot and for freeing themselves into perpetuity was given if they had expelled the Romans from the camp, and they pointed this out. So they pointed out two things. They predicted this, or they said this, and they pointed this out. His rebus celeriter magna multitudine peditatus equitatus quae coacta ad castra venerunt. So by these things quickly, with a great multitude of foot soldiers and horsemen having been collected, coacta, they came to the camp. So with these things, or by these things, meaning by these arguments that he mentioned above, the barbarians quickly, with a great multitude of their horsemen and their foot soldiers, came to the camp. So in this section, we see that Caesar rescues the foragers, that we have some bad weather preventing any further fighting, and that the barbarians see a little bit of an opportunity in this situation for both gathering booty and for freeing themselves if they actually are able to expel the Romans from the camp. And so they quickly kind of gather together and try to force the Romans out of the camp. Okay, so that is 4.34, and walete.